Hey guys, and welcome back to Mangotology. If you're new here, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Steven Mango, and I'm an ex-Scientologist that works here on YouTube to expose Scientology. So if you want to stay up to date on all my videos, please make sure to go down below, hit that red subscribe button, and turn on your bell notifications, and you'll get an alert whenever I release a new video exposing Scientology. And for today's video, we are going to be talking about Scientology and how they've been tracking me. We're going to be talking about my recent experience, which is very creepy, and then we're going to be discussing whether or not this is legal and what can be done about it. So if you're interested, then keep on watching. Hey again guys, so I hope that you're all hanging in there and doing well during this quarantine, making sure to wash your hands and not get into contact with other people, wearing your germ mask, and making sure that you are taking care of yourself during this time, because if anyone knows how hard it is to be stuck in the house, it's me. And I've been, having good days and bad days during this whole quarantine time. So I have been trying to do my best to not just stay in bed or doing activities in the house. I've been trying to get myself out to get like fresh air, and that's what kind of ties into this really creepy Scientology story that I'm going to be talking about what just happened 2 days ago with regard to Scientology tracking me. And it's something that I learned about Scientology that I want to share with you guys, because it's something that I think is violating people's right to privacy. So I'm going to be sharing all of that here for you today. So like I've been saying, I've been in this quarantine, stuck in the house, going crazy, and the one thing that I've been doing in order to keep my mind from like completely caving in here is by going on like a short drive during the day. So what I've been doing is going to Starbucks to get my Emperor's Cloud tea. Shout out to anyone else who also gets that tea at Starbucks. It's really good if you're looking for a tea at Starbucks. It is like a green tea, but anyways, doesn't really matter. But there are 2 different locations that are open in LA that are drive-through locations that aren't like their standard walk-in, dine-in locations. And instead of going to the typical Starbucks that I would be going to, I have to drive probably like 10-15 minutes, I would say, to go to the drive-through location. And the line is always for the drive-through like all the way down the street. It takes like an hour just to go through the Starbucks drive-through. So it's kind of a pain, but it's also something that has at least gotten me out of the house, because I think just sitting in the house and not leaving for weeks on end is bound to drive anyone crazy, even if you're not like having struggles with your mental health or anything. I think it would cause anyone to kind of have like a breaking point. So I've been going on these drives, in the morning to Starbucks. And in order to get to the Starbucks, I have to drive by Scientology's Big Blue location. Now, there are probably other ways to kind of completely circumvent going past Big Blue or Scientology, and it's something that after I've told other people this story, they're like, well, why would you even drive past when you can go in a different direction? And yes, in order to drive west, I can go completely out of my way in order to go around the Scientology org instead of just going the quickest way, which would be to go straight down Fountain Avenue in Hollywood. And yeah, I could do that, but then I'm thinking to myself as well, I'm not going to have to inconvenience myself in order to not drive past Scientology or try to let them have some sort of power or influence over me still, that I have to like be afraid or like go around a different street in order not to go past them. And it's like, I don't like to live my life in that type of fear or anything like that. It's like they can go around me, you know what I mean? Not like they could really do that, but it's just like the idea that I'm not going to let Scientology still rule any sort of power over my life. So I have been going the same way. Now, even before this quarantine, I would be driving down Fountain Avenue if I was going to the west side of Los Angeles or the west side of town, and I would normally just go this way just because it's a faster way to go than going down some of these other major roads in Hollywood or Los Angeles that are always backed up full of traffic. So Fountain's usually the quickest way to go. And of course, when you drive by Scientology, yeah, it could bring up different feelings for me, especially when you drive by and you notice the amount of security that are monitoring the staff. And that's also another point that I wanted to bring up with this, that when I was driving past one of their Sea Org home areas, like there's an area past Big Blue, I think it's like on Normandy Avenue, I'm not really sure exactly, but it's in that general area. And I was seeing Sea Org members, because I have a lot more drive-by, so I'm noticing different things as I'm driving by more frequently now, and I'm seeing security with walkie-talkies watching the Sea Org members like walk in and walk out of this like apartment complex area that they all live in. And it's just so sad to me to see like they're under that level of control that I'm sure there are people that want to escape and can't, because they would have a guard on walkie-talkie ready to make sure that if that person does try to flee down the street, within a millisecond they can go and capture that person back. They don't have any sort of regular civil liberty just to walk down the street like you and I do. So I've been noticing some of these different things on this drive that I'm going and noticing, and it just makes me as like an activist of sort like really irritated and want to keep doing what I do here on YouTube. So when I drove by the other day, which I have noticed before when I've driven by that they would get their walkie-talkie, because I figure that they would see me because, you know, if I'm in the driver's seat or passenger seat, if they're just looking down the road, they could spot me very easily and walkie-talkie that there's an SP in the area. And that's how I usually would rationalize that to myself when I would see it happening, like, oh, they just spotted me. Oh, they're just walkie-talkieing to security in case I'm going to start protesting or something like that, which isn't the case now during the quarantine. And the other day, I was driving down and the red light came up, and I was probably like 3 cars back, which is kind of significantly further back from the main road. Like if it's Fountain and L. Ron Hubbard Way, and AOLA is here, and the cafe of Pack Base, and the security guards around here, and then there's Asho parking, and then there's usually a security guard over here. Usually, you know, if you're a few cars back, they're not really looking, or they're not going to spot you. And the same thing if you're like right at that red light and you're like parked right in front of the org, like, yeah, of course they may notice the person who's driving. And I wasn't that close. So I noticed that the guard at the parking was facing west, and that was the direction I was going to be heading in. So they were facing the opposite direction of the car. Then all of a sudden, Odo, the bike guard, who you guys know from my protests and from other videos like Angry Gay Pope and stuff like that, he was driving up, or on his bicycle going up L. Ron Hubbard Way. All of a sudden I see him take a U-turn, and he comes down Fountain right to where my car is in the lineup at the red light. And think of how quickly, from the time that I stop and how quickly he got notified that I was stopped at the light, he comes right on over to the passenger side of my car and just like stares into my car through the passenger side window. So I'm looking, and for a second I'm wondering, more so, not that it's like, yeah, it's creepy, but not like I'm intimidated in a creepy way, but just kind of like, A, how did he know that I was here within like 5 to 8 seconds? It was like honestly that fast. And the second thing was he's just staring at my window, so I just was like this, and I smile and I wave to him like, hello, like it's just like the weirdest thing to me, and I just couldn't understand how they knew that quickly. And of course he's stone-faced, and he doesn't acknowledge that I'm like waving to him. He's like right at my window. So the light changes, and then I continue on my drive to Starbucks, and the whole way there I was wondering, how in the world do they know within such a fast amount of time that I was there when none of the guards were there, but the one guy by the parking garage who was looking in the opposite direction, no one else was there, and all of a sudden Odo turns around and comes up to my car. And it was just really creepy, and not, like I said, in an intimidating way, but like, why were they able to spot me that fast, and like, what were they trying to accomplish? It's a quarantine and stay-at-home order. Like, what am I going to be able to do? Now, I did notice that outside the org, and I think it's just for a public relations sort of thing, they had like a little table set up by AOLA, which is the advanced org, and they had like hand sanitizer and like a spray bottle and different things, and like a note on the door. So I think more for public relations purposes, for people like me who drive by, who are like reporting on Scientology, can say, oh, they have like the hand sanitizer out. But really, I think that they're doing it in order to put a message out like, yeah, we want our members to stay safe, and we want them to be able to have the tools and the gloves and whatever else that they need, the masks, in order to prevent from, you know, obtaining the illness or virus or whatever. And I think, of course, they're just doing it for that reason, because I don't believe that they actually believe the virus actually exists. More so that even if it does exist, that they're not going to contract it, because they're like these upper level spiritual beings, that the rest of us wogs in the real world are going to be more susceptible to the germs or illness that happens. So for a moment I was thinking, maybe there's a tracking device on my car that's tracking where I go. And I was entertaining that idea for a moment, thinking like, oh, I should get my car looked at to make sure that there's nothing on my car. But they don't actually know me from this car, I wouldn't assume, because I got this car probably a few months ago, and I park it in my garage every single time, and it's not really unattended long enough to where I feel like someone would put the tracking device. And if there was a tracking device, I feel like I would see them all over town wherever I drive, and there would be more of a Scientology presence in different areas that I'm at. So I don't necessarily think it's a tracking device. And what I kind of found out what it was is that they use automatic license plate readers. So what I actually found out when I posted this on a Scientology message board asking if anyone had any ideas of how they would be tracking me like this. Nasty Nathaniel, who you guys know, he's been on my channel before, and he's a First Amendment auditor, and he also did a video with, I believe this video was on Angry Gay Pope's channel, but the video wasn't with Angry Gay Pope. But basically him and another one of these First Amendment auditors were doing an audit of Scientology, and they found in the public tree, they found an automatic license plate reader. The automatic license plate reader actually belonged to Scientology, and it was on public property of the tree. I'll play a couple clips in here for you guys so you guys can see how this actually happened. Again, go check out their video for the full entire license plate video. Let them know that Steven Mango sent you to the channel. I'm gonna link that down in the description box below. So without further ado, let's just play a couple clips so you guys can actually see them finding this automatic license plate reader in the same tree that probably spotted me with this license plate reader. So take a look.
There is a license plate reader in the tree, in a public tree, was having a license plate reader on Fountain Avenue. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
Pointing at Fountain Avenue. Why do you want people's license plates numbers? Huh?
It's a camera.
No, it's not. It's a license plate reader.
So in this video, they actually did take down the automatic license plate reader from the tree against the police's wishes or anything like that, because I think that they were saying that they're going to contact the city about it, and they were trying to say like, well, Scientology, you can't go putting this license plate reader in the public tree, and then Scientology saying, oh, but we take care of the tree, as if that makes it their tree. So again, they're trying to justify why they're able to have these really creepy security measures. I was looking up whether or not these were legal in California, so this is what I actually found out. ALPR are high-speed camera systems that photograph license plates, convert the numbers and letters into machine-readable text, tag them with the time and location, and upload that data into a database for retrieval. Often, law enforcement agencies that use ALPR compare plates to a hot list of plates suspected of being connected to crimes, or even belong to owners with outstanding court fees. However, ALPR is a mass surveillance technology in that it collects information on every driver, the overwhelming majority of whom are innocent. The technology poses a threat to locational privacy. In aggregate, the data can reveal detailed driving patterns or identify the drivers who frequent particular locations, such as protests, gun shows, and healthcare facilities. Any person or entity in California, including public agencies that deploy automatic license plate readers ALPR or access ALPR data, must post a privacy and usage policy online under a new state law that went into effect on January 1st, 2016. The new law requires agencies to divulge several key policy points, including the authorized purposes for using the ALPR system and collecting ALPR information, a description of the job title or other designation of the employees and independent contractors who are authorized to use or access the ALPR system, or to collect ALPR information. The policy shall identify the training requirements necessary for those authorized employees and independent contractors. A description of how the ALPR system will be monitored to ensure the security of the information and compliance with applicable privacy laws. The purposes of, process for, and restrictions on the sale, sharing, and transfer of ALPR information to other persons. The title of the official custodian or owner of the ALPR system responsible for implementing the section. A description of the reasonable measures that will be used to ensure the accuracy of the ALPR information and correct data errors. The length of time ALPR information will be retained, and the process the ALPR operator will utilize to determine if and when to destroy retained ALPR information. Now, I feel that if these license plate readers were actually used for the intended purpose, which would be like, for example, if your car is getting repossessed and the bank or whomever is trying to locate this vehicle and has to repossess it would actually use these license plate readers via the police in order to track where the automobile actually is, so the bank could repossess it. Or if there's like a stolen vehicle on the loose and the police are trying to locate who the criminal or where the criminal is driving or where this vehicle actually is, they can use this license plate reader for actual like criminal usage in order to do like an investigation to find out where the vehicle is, right? And I'm sure that there are other uses for it. This also would mean that they're able to have access, perhaps, in my opinion, to DMV records, which how or why would Scientology be able to actually access that in order to know that my license plate, insert license plate here, actually belongs to my vehicle? So they're somehow using, in my opinion, possibly some type of DMV database, which sounds illegal to me, in order to be able to track me in order for Scientology to do these noisy investigations on their critics, or being able to see where their critics are going. Like they'll know, like, yeah, I'm going to Starbucks. I'm not going to some, crazy place. I'm just gonna get my morning tea. And yeah, it's innocent enough like that for me, but then again, they know which direction I'm traveling in. They could know who I'm seeing, where I'm going. I mean, there's a number of different things like that which make it much more stalkerish, and it's being used in a more of a private investigative manner. It's not like they're using these license plate readers for good. They're using these license plate readers in order to harass, intimidate, and harm their critics by keeping close tabs on them for no other reason besides Scientology's own internal SP and other sort of creepy methods that you guys know that they do in order to try to shut down their critics. I think that they could also use this if one of their Sea Org members were escaping and they go into a vehicle, and then they'll be able to possibly track what vehicle it is or where the car is going and what direction. So I'm sure that these license plate readers are used for a number of purposes with Scientology. I feel like it invades on people's right to privacy, again, unless you're doing something criminal or the state is using it, and when they do, they delete the images within a certain number of time. It's not like they're trying to follow just average everyday citizens. Scientology knew within seconds of reading my license plate as I'm driving down Fountain Avenue to go send the bike guard around to me to see, as I'm driving away, is he stopping? Is he parking? Is he trying to walk up the street? Why is Stephen Mango here? I don't know what was going through Scientology's mind in order to come up to my vehicle, but I think that they definitely were trying to show me that they're keeping tabs on where I am. When I was coming home from the Starbucks, I actually went and I drove up L. Ron Hubbard Way, and I drove really slowly, and I was looking around, like trying to act like I was spying on Scientology. And then I stopped right in front of the CLO. There's like this little parking area, which is near AOLA. And I just stopped and I look out because Odo was staying there with some other guy. And I just went and I looked. I waved to try to show you, like, hey, I'm still here. Like, I'm not scared of you. Like, I'm going to stop just like you did to me and stare at me. And I'm going to stare at you. And I waved and I continued to drive back to my house. So I think for the average person who tries to leave Scientology and sees something like this happen to them, they might be more like creeped out, or like, oh, I don't want to speak out, or they can try to bully certain people into silence. For me, it's like, go ahead, follow me to Starbucks, follow me wherever I go. Like, it's not a big deal to me. I don't get scared off by something like that, because again, my life is so boring, more or less. It's like, go ahead, if you want to follow me, follow me. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to Starbucks. Come on, Odo, follow right behind me. It's like, what are you trying to accomplish by doing this other than proving that you're a creepy cult? And when I was telling other people about the story too, it's like, this is supposed to be a quote-unquote religion. We know it's not, but if you go by their words, this is a religion that's using an automated license plate reader, whether this is legal or not, constitutional or not. They have this in a public tree hidden in order to harass their critics. Could you think of just like your average church having this in order to send bike guards if you left the Catholic Church, and then they send out one of their guards in order to go, and you're just driving casually to Starbucks. I haven't protested there, honestly, guys, probably in 2 years. I mean, I did with Nass and Nathaniel when we hung out last year, but an actual protest, probably years, right? I very rarely am going there and holding up signs or doing something like that like I used to, but not anymore. So for them to try to make their presence known to me was just very weird. And like I said, no other regular church would do this just because someone wanted to leave or spoke out about something that was wrong about the church. To know that they're having like cameras on every corner of the Scientology orgs, to have license plate readers, to have bicycle guards, to have other like non-uniformed guards. I noticed this a lot, and even when it was raining I saw someone under an umbrella and I could spot them because they go in like the corners of Big Blue and they stand there and they just like watch the street, and they have like their walkie-talkie or like an earphone in, so they are under like heavy surveillance in that area with Scientology. And I know that they feel like people like me are like their enemies and we're like threats, and they have to have all these security guards around in case people like that Ben and Michael go in with undercover cameras, or they're just trying to keep everything safe, I guess. But it's like, they don't have to be scared of that. They have to more or less maybe do the right thing by people, and there will be people like me who speak out about Scientology, right? It's more about stuff like that. It's like, instead of trying to cover your ass Scientology and all the criminal stuff, maybe you wouldn't have to do this if you didn't do so much wrong by other people, if you weren't trying to scam people or hold them against their will and all these different things. And for the people that are inside, it's even more sad. Like, yeah, I can come to my home and be safe, but these Sea Org members, if they were trying to run down the street and try to blow and be free and leave Scientology, how really could you when there's guards on every corner, when there's all these cameras spotting the direction you're going, or if you hop in a car, they know what the license plate is to be able to find that car. So I just don't know whether or not this is something that can be reported, that these are being used unauthorized. I feel like the police might also be working with Scientology for this, maybe that they feed some of the information to the police that they find on these license plate scanners or something. I know that they work with the Wilcox Avenue station of the LAPD, so I'm sure maybe they have some sort of permission or ties or some sort of thing where the police is working with Scientology or vice versa in order to protect each other. So I wouldn't be too surprised about that. If you guys have any more information on this for me, then let me know, or if there's someone that we could all report this to so they can stop, you know, spying on people without an actual reason to have these license plate scanners. They're not police, they're not California Highway Patrol, so like, why are they able to get away with having cameras in their public trees? So someone let me know about, you know, the law regarding that, if you guys have any more information for me on that. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about this whole entire situation. Should this be something that people like me that are critics should be creeped out about? Should I drive a different way so they don't know where I'm going? I don't necessarily know what the right answer to that is, so let me know your opinion down in the comment box down below. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I've made a lot of different videos over the quarantine. I've done videos on Chili Miscavige, about YouTube stars with secret ties to Scientology, whether or not Scientology installed listening devices in my home. I have a whole wide variety of new videos, so please make sure to check them out if you haven't done so already. Also follow me on social media at stevenmango, and you guys can keep up with my daily life on my Instagram story, and you know, you can see my tweets on Twitter and different things. I've been posting different updates and things about Scientology even, so if you guys want kind of the tea, if you will, before I post about it here on YouTube, then follow me on my social media accounts. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.